DR fam, hope everybody's having a great Monday. A little late, about 10 o'clock, so hope everybody had a great Monday. Almost time for Tuesday. And also, of course, always hope everybody had a great weekend. Um, didn't do a video Friday. Friday was just such it's one of those days where it's like, if you got in and just let things ride, you were very happy. I did put a picture up of kind of what was happening, but there wasn't. Like I said, we had a great expansive day on Friday, so really wasn't need to do a recap because as long as if you were long, you were strong. All right. If you were short, yeah, sorry. Okay. Anyway, but let's talk about. Let's look at daily, see where we are, and I want to point out a couple things here, right? So we are at all time highs, all right, and so you think about it. You look at kind of where our midnight, like on NQ, we opened up high at midnight, and then we have kind of same thing on ES. We opened up a little bit higher, but if you notice, what we ended up doing was we actually went up, right? So we wicked all the way up, and then we started coming back down, right? So we ended up even on the NQ, we actually ended up with a negative day, quote unquote. But what that allowed us to do, because we're at all-time high, so there's the blue sky above us. There's really nothing for us to kind of hang on to up there. Right? There's nothing for us that we're reaching for. We're just trying to see where price is going to go before it decides to reverse. But if you look at what happened today, again, this is on a daily, we actually end up forming on both charts. We actually end up forming a pretty huge fair value gap, right, based off where we were Friday and the little bit of the retrace we had today. So if you look, this one on the ES was, we're talking about 48.20, basically up to 4. So that's a 50 point fair value gap, and that's a bullish one. And so what that tells me is what I'm expecting, right? At some point, not necessarily tomorrow, but I can see it kind of setting itself up. Is that we're going to retrace back into that fair value gap, right? On both of these, we have to. That's kind of again, there's nothing above us that we're shooting for, so price has to have something to kind of hang on to, and so we're looking in that fair value gap for price to come down and then do this kind of move, right? And so the optimal thing for me would be for price to go kind of halfway in between, right? That's that. I think ICD calls it consequent encroachment or whatever it is. But if we get to that halfway point, and we saw this last week before we had the big run up, we got to halfway point of that fair value gap and then shot up. Okay, so this could happen in 1 or 2 days. It could happen over time where we kind of do something like this and then come back down and then do it. I mean, these are such wide gaps, these wide fair value gaps that it's going to take us a while to, kind of maneuver through them. So, well, again, at least that's what I think should happen. The way prices moved last week, that may change in a day. So not sure. If we look at last night, I was messing around with the Asian DR last night, and we moved 100 points before a couple hours into the Asian. I mean, we're up 100 points, and that's where a lot of this wick came from, right? And I'm talking about on the NQ. And so today was kind of the day, and we'll see it later when we get down into a minute. But we really spent the day trying to back a little bit, right? So again, I think there's a great opportunity over time for us to come down, and over time is relative, right? It could be tomorrow if things happen the way it could happen, or they happen like on Friday, where we come down into that gap, and then kind of shoot our way back out. All right, so that's my thought process and kind of what I'm looking at. Or trying to see if those things happen. If we go down to our normal DR time frame, which is a 5 minute, so we'll drop down to both of those on both of those. Okay, and you'll kind of see what I'm talking about, right? So okay, so if you look at this, right, yeah, this is what I'm looking for. All right, so all of this action on the 5 minute, all of this action here was Friday, right? And then so if I look at the Asian, okay, we had that move, and then we started going. If you look at this is London, and then this is New York, okay, and we'll do the same thing on Well, let's talk about ES, and I'll mess this up yet, right? But look at how DR set up across all three of those time frames, right? Asian and London, we were like London was inside of the Asian, right? So that's like that. So what that told me today was that we weren't going to have a huge move up or down. We were going to have some movement, right? And if you look at where New York was, New York opened up still inside of Asian, and just right around the same point as London, and then we had a spike up. So that was our spike up, and then we came back down. Okay, so I know it's messy, but you can see it here where the red lines are our DR setups. All right, if I look at what we did on NQ, NQ was basically the same, right? If you look at it, actually it was actually even the New York was more inside of the range. And when you see this kind of setup, that only tells me you're going to have a kind of a consolidation day. And so even though we had a lot of movement, we still really kind of consolidated, and you see, kind of see where we ended up, right? All right. So if you look at, like I said, for Asian, this move here, we had a 100-point move, right at the start of DR. And so I actually did play this, so I was well ahead for today, and I actually didn't trade at all today during New York. Just didn't have time, but I was, positive, of course, from that perspective. Now, if you look at what happened after that, right? So let's dig into New York, and you can kind of see how we just had, again, everything was kind of in that same consolidated zone, and I'll bring up New York for both. Now, if we look at what we had for New York, we confirmed low. All right. So, a lot of, honestly, I say a lot of opportunities. I would say the first opportunity is probably the best opportunity. Okay. And what I mean by that is when we confirm low, we retraced back up. Okay. Retraced back up here. And then we had this nice move down. Right. So if I'm looking at that, what I'm actually looking at, so I'm, from a point standpoint, I'm going from my IDR low, which is at 480, let's say 488, and then this comes down to 442. So, I mean, that's a 40 point off the edge. Kind of same thing over here on the ES. Now, ES was a little bit different because, right, so we didn't retrace as far back up. We did retrace up, but we'd have to take that off the DR low versus IDR. But here, again, still we're talking about, if I look at, let me go about that. If I look at this, we're saying from here, that was 48.85, and that would have taken me down to 48.75. So that's 10 points on that move that you could have gotten. Now, are there other trades? Yeah, absolutely. There's another one here. There's another one here. There's actually another one here that went throughout the rest of the day, kind of, right? Actually, maybe another one over there, right? So there are other opportunities, but I always kind of say, well, if you catch the first one, that's normally the best one, right? So if you were on NQ, if you were looking at NQ, let me get that. I need to get that crosshair out the way, right? So NQ, yep. So that's your first trade. Now, your second trade, you probably would have gotten stopped out, because even though we came down, we didn't come all the way down. We went back up, right? So that trade would have been no good. Your third trade would have been right here. Okay, so that one's, you could have taken whatever you lost here would have been we could have gotten that back here. And then some additional trades here that you could have taken. There's another one here, right? And there's actually another one. Well, if you were really brave over here at 330, you could have taken another one there. So there are other opportunities. Today was one of those days where, as long as you followed your rules, it was pretty easy from a trade standpoint, right? And you wouldn't have gotten stopped out, except for that one trade on the NQ. Like I said, right here, you probably would have gotten stopped out with the movement. But like I said, here, if you look at ES, look at where your stop loss would have been. So that's what, 88.85. So your stop loss would have been up here at 48.90. So no heat here, no heat here, no heat there, no heat here. Even here, there's no heat. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 really easy opportunities to to get in and just let the trade take care of itself. Again, same thing here. Uh, Again, based on what your your uh, your risk management strategy is and how far up you want to go. Right. So again, we had one trade, we had two good, three that would have been fine, four, and then five. Right. So what I'm saying is, yes, the first one is probably the one that's probably the safest. But throughout the day, if as price is doing this again on a consolidation day, you can definitely find other opportunities to get in, especially from a DR trade standpoint. All right, and like I said, the purpose of DR is to protect you. So if you get into this trade, right, if you'd have got into this trade and it went against you, okay, you get out, whatever your stop loss is. But then you have again other opportunities to come back in. So anyway, long way of me to say five opportunities on each today. You could have taken. I looked at them, but like every time I got a chance to look at the chart. I did do my alerts this morning, but by the time I got to look at it, right, so I missed the move basically, right? So, and every time I looked, even during the rest of the day, the move had already happened, right? I was always looking when it was like kind of already past the DR line, so I didn't want to I didn't want to chance it, so I just said let it go. All right, live to trade another day. Okay. Anyway, guys, hope that's it. Hope this was helpful. Again, follow your rules. They will keep you out of trouble and keep you liquid. All right. So Friday I was able to. Apex had that 1 day funding challenge again, and with the movement on Friday, I was able to fund a couple of new eval accounts, or passed a couple of eval accounts. So I did a 25K and a 50K, and so now I'm in the process of adding those to my list of accounts or funded accounts that I can then trade off of. Still not doing a trade copier. I haven't got comfortable with that yet, so I'm just doing one account at a time. But honestly, life is those things are going very well. So anyway, as we always say, guys, love on your loved ones. You never know when you won't be able to do it again. So take advantage of each and every opportunity. And I appreciate you guys, and I will talk to you later.